The US President Donald Trump has flagged the possibility of a hefty tax on Mexican imports to pay for a 3,000-kilometre border wall. The proposal is the latest salvo in an escalating war of words between the US and Mexico. Already the Mexican president has snubbed Donald Trump by cancelling a scheduled meeting in Washington. Anne Barker reports.
Donald Trump is determined that Mexico will pay for the cost of a border wall, and he thinks he's found a way to do it, whether Mexico wants one or not.
Well, we're working on a tax reform bill that will reduce our trade deficits, increase American exports, and will generate revenue from Mexico that will pay for the wall if we decide to go that route.
Mr. Trump says a 20% tax on imports from Mexico could raise around $10 billion a year and pay for the estimated $15 billion cost of building the wall. White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer says given the US has a massive trade deficit with Mexico, the tariff would make sense.
If you tax that 50%, $50 billion at 20% of imports, which is, by the way, a practice that 160 other countries do. Right now, our country's policy is to tax exports and let imports flow freely in, which is ridiculous. But by doing it that way, we can do $10 billion a year and easily pay for the wall.
This latest war of words is shaping up as a serious diplomatic row between the US and Mexico and comes just hours after Mexico's President Enrique Pena Nieto cancelled a visit to Washington and, under pressure from Mexicans, put his foot down to Donald Trump.
Lamento y repruebo la decisión de Estados Unidos.
I regret and disapprove of the decision by the United States to continue with the construction of the wall, he said, which has for years, far from uniting us, divided us. Mexico does not believe in walls. I've said time and time again, Mexico will not pay for any wall. Politically, there is some support for a wall inside the US. A survey last week by the American ABC and Washington Post showed 37% of Americans were in favour. But economically, the benefits of a wall and the proposed import tax are questionable. In the short term, a 20% tariff would be paid by US importers and consumers, so Mexico wouldn't pay for the wall at all, though it would suffer a loss of exports if US consumers then switched to cheaper goods. And some commentators predict the wall would more realistically cost up to $40 billion to build, and once finished, it would hurt the US economy.
At the moment, illegal immigrants constitute about 12 million people. 80% of those people work or are looking for work. And so slowing the flow of new illegal immigrants into the United States should slow the growth of GDP.
Gary Burtles, a senior fellow at the Brookings Institution, says the loss of cheap Mexican labour would damage the US.
Total economy will grow a little more slowly. The incomes of people who compete with illegal immigrants should climb a little faster, and the rest of us will pay higher prices for things like fruits and vegetables, inexpensive motel stays, other things produced by industries where illegal immigrants are an important source of labor.
Other industries, of course, could well benefit from the wall, namely those involved in its construction. And ironically, one of those is the giant cement company Cemex, which is based in Mexico.
Anne Barker reporting.